Sound check and hello. My name is Reese and I am presenting you some materials here. A lot of books, because what I would like to go over, please excuse the squeaking of my chair, is crocheting books that are geared towards teaching to design. So I fashioned myself to be a crochet designer based off of the work that I've done or am working on. But all of this did not come from a vacuum. This came from practice, this came from exploring, this came from looking at materials such as what we're going to look at today. So there are basically three types of books that we're going to be looking at. The first one are going to be just general books, and the next ones are going to be more centered around what you'd want to do, and then the third one is going to be it's again more general but a lot of variety. So the first ones are the general books. So one of the things you want to get yourself, should you ever start designing or ever want to just know what's going on about the variations of crochet, you want to get yourself something like a crochet Bible. This is the one I go to the most, the Harmony Guide to Crocheting Techniques and Stitches. This is one of my favorites. As you can see, I have quite a few tabs that have to do with different things, like really loving this stitch right here. What is this tab about? It's an idea that I had for a scarf, I believe. But as you can see, this provides you with not just the basic stitches as well as basic techniques, but it also provides you with far more advanced stitches, as you can see, for texture and color, all over patterns, things that you could probably turn into a very beautiful table runner. This one has open work, lace work, it has filet crochet, it has motifs, as you can see, all sorts of techniques going on. It does go into Irish crochet. This is something I haven't really tried yet, but it's absolutely beautiful. And there's even a small section in here about Tanzanian crochet. Not something I've done, but it gives you the basic stitches, gives you the basic techniques, and this is just my go-to. I carry this around with me all the time. A basic crochet Bible. That is what you need. So if you need to find something like this, I have another one here, literally called the Crochet Bible. Again, it's just filled with, gotta straighten that out. It's filled with techniques. It's filled with stitches. Some of these, especially the more current ones, may even have patterns in them to put these theories into work. Very lovely. This one right here, Crochet Bible by Sue Whitting. And you're gonna need a crochet Bible just so you can explore techniques, textures, stitches, all of it. This is still in the general category. So this is actually the first crochet book I was ever given. I started crocheting in high school, and a friend of mine was at the library and they were like, oh yeah, they're getting rid of these books. And this was one of them, Crochet, Fashions and Furnishing by Pauline Chatterton. As you can see, already shows a beautiful display of crochet. So, funny thing about my copy though, is that my copy is upside down and backwards. So if you open it from the back, this is not the front, even though that's where the cover is. No, you gotta flip it like this. And there we have the beginning. As you can see, withdrawn library book, 1878, which the style of the cover does lead to. I'm giving myself a reminder there. And this again gives a very nice introduction, basic stitches. This one's a little harder to read. I was able to read it and figure out what was going on, but just because of the fact that it's black and white, so it's kind of hard to see some of the stitches. But again, it has basic stitches, it has rounds, motifs, granny squares, and even goes a little into designing, not just, you know, it goes into clothes, it goes into rugs. It does have a few patterns in here. A lovely vest. And this is something that is a little bit more advanced, but if you're willing for the challenge, something like this or something like America's Crochet Book. This is another one very similar to this one right here. It shows how to design, how to measure, showing you basic stitches, showing you some more advanced techniques. As you can see, we're going into how to make sweaters and the like. But these books are absolutely great for teaching how to design. It's very similar to sewing. What you're doing is making pieces and then putting them together. And if you know, reading these, you'll understand how to do that. I was actually able to apply this to a pattern or to a doll that I've made, of just taking this basic information and putting it on a far smaller and simpler scale. But I learned that from reading these two books. So when I get into designing, measuring, that sort of thing, Crochet Bible, and something more instructional and geared towards actually teaching how to design, not just, you know, giving you patterns, which you can totally learn from, but this gives you those building blocks, even if it's a little difficult. So now we go into the second part. These are the second types of books that you should get. Now, these are more geared towards what do you want to crochet. These are more general. These are more just overall overview, something that every crocheter should have on their shelf. But these are geared towards what do you want to crochet exactly. If you want to crochet something like clothes, then you want to get something that's gearing towards fashion, gearing towards making actual clothes with diagrams to be able to break all of this down, but also gives you certain techniques so you can apply this to several other types of designs. Here we have Couture Crochet Workshop by Lillian Chen. And this is something that I grabbed. I Can't Believe I'm Crocheting Socks by Karen Woolley. And again, it's just showing the basics of how to make socks or types of clothing. And so if you want to make clothing, then go find something that's geared towards clothing. This right here is an Afghan book. Now this is actually probably the second book that I ever received about crochet from my great-grandmother. A wonderful gift from her. And Vanna White actually has quite a lot of Afghan books. I know of at least 2 of them, but there are probably more. But this one just basically shows different Afghans to make. And from here you can learn different techniques, such as intarsia, or this technique right here where you're keeping one color and just crocheting over it, or shells, and all these beautiful patterns. But you are also learning technique. Some of these bleed into each other very well, but if you want to make Afghans, things of that nature, get you a book all about Afghans. and just, you know, geared towards making those. This one right here, Lacework for Adventurous Crochets by Margaret Hubert. This one right here, let's say you want to make doilies. Let's say you want to do lace work. This one right here is like a lacework Bible, where it shows you projects, but it also shows you how to do the basics of these particular stitches. As you can see, a few edgings and the Solomon knot. The Solomon knot has always been kind of weird to me. I've not tackled it, and but I should be brave enough to do it. A lot of crochet, you will find confidence is key. But as you can see, with techniques and then applying those techniques. So these books are really, really good for that. Oh, and right there is a little example of some Irish crochet that we saw in the first book. Or at least that I know is in that first book. So as I said before, they kind of bleed into each other, which is really, really cool. So if you want to do lace work, look into a lacework Bible, or you can look at just different patterns that just go into lace work. This is Crocheting Placemats by Rita Weiss. And this one is just different patterns, but from those patterns you learn the technique and can apply them to different things. So want to do lace work, look into books that are all about lace work. Last but not least, amigurumi. I have the most of these because I really love making animals and dolls. And so again, want to learn amigurumi, then of course Crochet Bible is definitely going to help you, as well as one of the general ones, but also studying how different people can make the same thing. So different ways to make a frog, different ways to make a lion. Once you understand that amigurumi is all basically basic shapes that have been manipulated in some way or put together. So just you'll learn that from reading these different books, but it depends on what you want to do. So I have quite a few. Crochet Wild Animals by Vanessa Moonsea. Very wonderful. I've made this at least 2 or 3 times. And just wonderful animals here that you can make or start off with. This one, Huggable Crochet by Christine Lucas. I think this one used like a slightly thicker yarn, and I really enjoy these animals, how cuddly they are, and they are beginner friendly. I'm actually going to be giving this book to my cousin so that she can complete her first crochet project for the summer. And then there's the Edward books by Carrie Lord. I love these books. Her patterns are really nice and beginner friendly. Make different types of animals. And what's really cool about her patterns is that there are some things that are the same, and they just change via the techniques. So are you changing colors? Are you adding wings? Is there a tail involved? Like, what's going on here? Such as like this little technique right here, or you know, making horns. Some of this is the same thing, but they're put together in different ways. And so I can really appreciate that, because again, you are learning multiple techniques from just one book. And this one's another Carrie Lord Edwards Crochet Imaginarium. This book, I absolutely love it. You can make different combinations, the different arms and legs. You can pretty much do whatever you want, and they have. And I absolutely enjoy this book. Again, learning different techniques from the same book. And don't mind my hand, I'm fine. This is just lipstick stain. So the last type of book we're going to look at are actually magazines. Having magazines around is great because they have different types of patterns all together. and they range from beginner, intermediate, all of it. So you can learn how to do or build up your skill from just one magazine issue. This one has afghans, casserole covers, buntings, doilies, has different clothings. These are ranging from really easy to a little bit more difficult, and you're going to be able to get all of that from one magazine subscription. That's really, really cool. So we can look at another one. Really, really cool to find all these lovely patterns in one place, as well as a few ads, so you can discover some stuff that you didn't know that was out there. Again, going from things that are very simple, such as a nice granny square and granny stripe here, to something a lot more difficult with this beautiful and delicate looking doily or table runner. So these are the 3 types of books I recommend. A general book, a Bible, definitely. Something a little bit more of what you're interested into. Gurumi, lacework, clothing, and then magazine subscriptions. So all these together, combined with the work that you put into, will definitely help you become a better crocheter overall and a crochet designer. Keep in mind that what you're doing is learning the techniques. You're learning how to put things together, whether it's making clothes, afghan, amigurumi. If you have the basics down pat, you can make anything that you want. So thank you so much for joining me. We will have more on this designing series, and I will see you soon.